rated E10 for ages 10 and up.
Hi everybody, this is Feta Fencer, and I'm a member of the Trove team that has made Mantle of Power, doing a lot of work on the tuning and the feedback especially. And I wanted to talk to you today about some improvements that have been made to the gem system in Trove since Mantle of Power launched. If you want to know a little bit more about how gems work in general, check out a guide to the Trove gem system, which is elsewhere on YouTube or on the Trove website. So on April 19th, 2016, we set out to make an expansion that would make the game better and more rewarding. That was actually the head start, and then a week later, the full launch of Mantle of Power. And since then, we noticed that some people wanted more challenge in the way that Mantle of Power was being rolled out for them, and some people seemed to be blocked in kind of a non-fun way. So I wanted to run you through a little bit of the process that we've done in adjusting things for Mantle of Power, and then also some of the specific improvements we've made in response largely to your feedback. So when we're launching something like Mantle of Power, first we whiteboard things, discuss it among the team, we do extensive modeling, we play internally, we release to PTS, we get wonderful feedback from you, and we tune it. But then everyone gets to play, and then metrics step to the fore, and we measure what's happening in the game. Always we're reading the forums, and Fasty tells us what we missed on the forums, and then we make changes. And actually, in 9 out of the 11 updates since Mantle of Power originally went live, there's been a gem-related update. So we made a list early on of the concerns that people were expressing, that the forums were expressing. We do read the forums, we don't respond all the time, but please keep it coming. It's such valuable feedback, and it's only through these threads that we actually understand what you're thinking in ways that the metrics can never show. So one thing that people were concerned about is that there's not as much of a sense of progress as people would have preferred. And so we added karma first to gem boxes. So I'm going to open a Shadow Water gem box here, for example. This blue line along the bottom is the karma bar. So it'll guarantee a rare result when the bar fills up. So it's almost filled up here. So I can open it. Let's see what I'm getting. I'm getting a shadow result, and now I get a stellar gem as a result of the karma bar getting full. That came out in the Navigation edition, and in the Claims and Karma edition, we actually added Gem Karma. And then recently, in the Revenge of the Squeakers edition, we actually started showing in the UI the karma bar. So, for example, if I take a gem and try to level it up, there's a bar here now that is the karma that is gem specific. So when I try to level it, if I actually succeed, there will be no karma. But if I fail, I get a certain amount of karma that fills up. When this fills up, I will get a success. So I level up again, it hit the max and it resets. Hits the max and resets. I'm doing pretty well here. In the early levels, gems are fairly easy to get going. But you'll notice that as my gem gets higher and higher level, when the karma bar does go up, it goes up by a smaller amount. The two are obviously related. As things get harder at higher levels, the amount of karma I get correspondingly goes down. So it's expected to take me a little longer at the higher levels, but I will eventually get the success that I'm looking for. And finally, in the Collections update, we added 2 times karma to patrons for adventure dropped gem boxes and gem booster boxes as well. So a second thing that people told us was that they were concerned that class gems were dropping either with bad stats or rolling bad stats, and that can mean wrong for my build or just weak rolls overall. So what we did is we made empowered gem fragments, for example, that drop out of an empowered gem box, and you can use those to craft at an adventure crafting table. If I have empowered gem fragments, I can take 10 of them and use them to craft a stellar empowered gem box. So even though I might not get the gem or the upgrade I want, I can save the fragments in many cases and get a second shot on goal. On Gemmy Tuesday, lesser gems also dropped with a higher chance to have more stats. If I look at a typical range of things that drop, we see a number of 1 stars, some 0 stars, and some 2 stars. The mix is richer now than it was before. And finally now we've got something called the golden gem key, which is if I'm opening a lockbox here, sometimes if I have a golden gem key, this icon here will appear. If I click on it, I get a result from the rare table, guaranteed rare drop out of whatever it is I'm applying it to. Not all gem boxes are eligible for a golden gem key, but you can use this to get the best result possible out of the boxes where it is eligible. A third thing we heard is that dust costs are too high. So in Mantle of Power, the full launch edition, we actually buffed the dust that comes from gem booster boxes. And in the Claims and Karma edition, we roughly halved the dust costs to level up. So if you look here at level 6, you'll see it's quite a big difference. You'll need quite a lot less dust to level up. But for people at the high end of the spectrum, a tier 10 gem, that should end up being something similar. So it should really help the early and mid-game players to progress more quickly. Another thing we heard is that players feel pinched on boosters and that they actually had too many boosters at the low end. So we created the Jade Legendary Tome, which will give you every week 100 Jade Clovers. And on the other hand, we allowed players to turn their excess Jade Clovers into glittering horseshoes. So you can take 10 Jade Clovers and use it to craft a glittering horseshoe. A few other things we heard is that players didn't understand regenerators. That was as simple as adding a tooltip that the regenerator is found in the store for qubits or credits. Another easy to resolve issue was that players didn't know that they could only slot one of any given class gem until they'd actually collected and worked towards having 2 of them. And that was never intended, but we didn't make that as clear as it should have been. So now the tooltip makes it more clear. There were a few more changes, and maybe we're still working on those, but one thing came from the data, not from the forums, is that we noticed that non-core players' power rank was increasing more slowly than we wanted. So in the Class Trial Edition, we actually buffed the drop rate of gem boxes in Uber 1 and 2 to let players who were just starting out with the gem system get going a little bit faster. And then we did a lot of things on Gemmy Tuesday. Slots now unlock at a lower level than they used to, empowered gem slots specifically. So empowered gem slots now unlock at levels 12, 15, and 20, whereas previously they were at 21, 23, and 25. And certain lesser gem sockets also unlock earlier. So slot those empowered gems earlier on your alts or for first-time players going through and benefit from that additional power rank. You should be able to get into tougher worlds more early than you were before. So in conclusion, we are making changes where warranted. We're watching the system in terms of metrics, in terms of reading your thoughtful posts every day. So keep the feedback coming. You are listened to. The system has evolved and it'll continue to evolve. You know, we have great ambitions for where the gem system and power rank and progression, the meaningful feeling of progression is going in Trove, and this is your game, so we want to hear your thoughts on it and help to make this better. Thanks.